This is the United Uprising channel. Welcome to today's show. I wanted to do a video covering Katt Williams because Katt Williams is in the news again. Back in 2016, I covered Katt Williams when he was talking about a very similar topic, talking about the Illuminati. Obviously, 6 years after that, 7 years after that, I guess it is now, the word Illuminati has been taken on a whole new life. Obviously, when these celebrities now mention the Illuminati, people are so desensitized to the term, they dismiss it, they laugh at it. They have no understanding of what these secret societies really are, what they really do. They think it's just some type of club where the cool people get in and they sell their souls. They don't know any of the things that really go on. As far as the oaths that they take, the oaths of secrecy, and then the rituals that are performed, which include sacrifice, which they will never talk about out in the open. They kind of make light of a lot of the things. And people hear stories like what I'm about to play for you, things where Katt Williams comes out and actually references Illuminati parties, and they think that it's these big eyes wide shut like parties, where there is truth to that. They are eyes wide shut parties, but they don't tell you what they really do. You have to dig deep into the teachings of Aleister Crowley and the occult to actually understand that these rituals, which they try to make seem like cool parties, spooky parties, ooh, it's spooky, Illuminati party, really are some of the most disturbing parties you could ever possibly imagine. In fact, most people could not actually imagine the stuff that are in the books that these people follow, because it is so disturbing, their heads would actually explode. The acts that are done with children, the ritual offerings that are done with children, these are things that actually occur in the mansions of the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, which are now covered and protected under the names of Illuminati eyes wide shut like parties. So a lot of people believe that Katt Williams is actually a clone. I don't know about that. But Katt Williams is one of those people, if you were ever to leak in and leak into Hollywood, stand-up comedy would be one of the ways you'd be able to at least have some notoriety, because comics, if you're a funny comic and you're actually good at stand-up comedy, people will probably see it on YouTube or see it online. Now, that doesn't mean that he's not controlled up one way or the other, but I'm going to play for you some of the clips because there is truth in a lot of the things that he's saying. In regards to humiliation rituals specifically, he does mention that these people actually sell their soul and that they follow and worship Satan. So there's obviously truth in that. That's what I cover every day and have covered every day for many years now. So let me play for you a compilation of some of the clips from Katt Williams' recent interview with Shannon Sharpe, who is a former football player, where they talk about some of the things to look out for here, including Illuminati parties, how they select these people. They don't just pick you based on, what he's going to say here is they picked between the two of us, which one was going to become a millionaire and which one wasn't. They have to do things to become the millionaire. They don't just get handed and picked it. They have to do ritual offerings, etc. Now, he declined to do the things that were asked, but one could look at the story that he gives and say, well, how is he even alive to even tell any of these stories? And we'll see what ends up happening. Back in 2016, when I covered him, he was getting framed and set up month after month after month, was being arrested over and over again, and people were looking at him like he was some type of insane person. So he talks about Ludacris, he talks about Kevin Hart. Here's some of the clips where he's exposing and shedding a little bit of light on what Hollywood's really about.
Are you related to Luda?
No, so there was a crossroads where we were both invited to an Illuminati thing, and it had to be one or the other of us, and decisions had to be made. So it was both of us, we were equal. One of us had to cut off all their hair and couldn't do the sideburn thing no more with the points. And the next person, they said, was going to get $200 million because they were going to pay him $10 million a movie to do 20 movies. And that's how the conversation happened. One of those persons turned out to be Ludacris, and the other person turned out to be Katt Williams. Now, one person ended up with a light-skinned, ugly-faced wife that's never done it. Remember I told you that if I say that, it applied to 7 people?
Yes.
It's part of what they give you. Okay? I didn't get it. I'm not mad about it.
How much money they give? 200?
Sir, Fast and Furious is on what number right
10.
now?
200 million. I might need to get me one of them old women look the same.
That's what they all end up saying at the end of the day. Kevin told you he wasn't going to wear no dress until they offered him the dress, and then he put it on. And what did he say after he wore it? I made my own decision. Duh. But you didn't make it before they brought it up, did you? It's okay. All right. Because the people want to know, well, why would he get blackballed?
Yeah,
oh, because,
I was gonna ask you that.
because in 30 years, I've done nothing but collect information, knowledge, and your secrets. So if you and a man was in a corner doing something you wasn't supposed to be doing?
You will tell it.
No, somebody come to tell me.
Okay.
I gather that. I value that. I'll pay for that. Come, tell me. I know so many things I shouldn't know, and they all know it. They all know it.
You not afraid about being blackballed again? These are some power people.
What do you mean again? These people are not powerful. Satan can't create anything. That includes blessings for his people. That's why, you know what the number one job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is?
What?
Is to act like it didn't happen. They all do the same job.
So the problem with hearing some of these things is that it does desensitize people to who the Illuminati really are. And again, it's become a thing in pop culture now where celebrities constantly mention it and nobody seems to care. I've covered over the years the commercials with Taco Bell and Pizza Hut, all of them mocking conspiracy theories and the Illuminati. But if people actually understood how secret societies work and how these people network, and then the crimes that they actually commit and are allowed to get away with, because rules and laws only apply to us, not to them. So they openly commit murder. They openly sacrifice their own family members. That's why you hear all these celebrities always connected. You know, there's always a celebrity like, oh, their mom just recently died. Kanye West or Bruno Mars. I've covered so many over the years. Lady Gaga, her aunt. They talk about these ritual offerings, and they just always mention these people in their lives who died suddenly and tragically as, an inspiration to them. That's because they're usually the sacrifice offering that they make in order to become, quote unquote, rich and famous. If that's what if that's what these people really want. The reality of the matter is, if they had any comprehension of self-awareness, I should say, if they had any self-awareness, they'd look at themselves and say, wow, I really am not very talented. I'm only in these positions because they put me in these positions. And then they tell me what to rap about. They tell me what to talk about. They tell me what talking points to tweet about because they're social engineers. So they're paid all this money for fame and fortune, but they're puppets. They're servants of their masters. They're handlers who tell them how to engineer the masses. The masses look at these people as, I want to be like them. I want to strive to be like them. I want to become rich and famous like them. I want to look like them. I want to dress like them. That's the whole point of what these social engineers are. So they create the behavior. They're told what to talk about, what to tweet about, what to wear, right? And they obviously are the ones who have caused our society to become complete reprobates, right? The way people dress, the way people talk, how dumbed down they are. It all stems back to the celebrities. And the dumbing down of society is very necessary to bring about world communism, which is what they're doing. These people think that this they're like, oh yeah, the Democrat, you see a lot of the young people, right? They're sucked into the Democratic Party. It's nothing more than enslavement. And they don't even realize it because they can't really comprehend what's going on. And of course, they're all propped up as narcissists and all this reality is built up in their heads that they're, that they could be celebrities and all that stuff. They think they are their own celebrities with how they tweet and talk and how they behave. And this all goes back to celebrity. So let's recap here some of the stuff that he talked about. I want to talk about, obviously, him talking about Ludacris being picked. Of course, Ludacris was picked to go into this. You could see, none of these people have any talent anyway. I don't know how people don't see that. They rap about nothing. They talk about nothing. They aren't very good actors, right? The best acting that any of these celebrities do is when they're actually on these talk shows or they actually go to the United Nations or Ben Stiller going to Ukraine, etc. Those are the best acting performances they actually give. The performances in the movies are horrific. So he talks about him being in the Illuminati. He talks about how these people sell their souls. He talks about how Satan can't create anything and these people have no power. And there's a lot of truth in those words. The power that they have, we're giving them that power. Citizens and civilians are giving these people power. If they were to turn away from their technology and live a life like the Amish, nobody would even know that these people exist. So they're obviously propping these people up and giving them power. And Satan, of course, is not a creator. He's a mimicker, right? Everything I talk about on this channel, Satan inverts all of God's creations and perverts them. He inverts them, which is flipping them upside down, and he perverts them. That's why you see everything upside down, as above, so below, right? We could look at pop culture like the upside down in Stranger Things. Everything is flipped upside down. That's what Satan's, mock creation is here. It's a mimic of God. It's a mimic of Christ. That's what he tries to do. He inverts everything in the Bible is inverted. And they're trying to normalize everything in the Bible that is forbidden. They're trying to make normal, right? So one of the other things that is mentioned as well is Kevin Hart. And this is something we always see, right? You could look up almost any celebrity and you could see them in drag. It's pretty funny how that's a humiliation ritual, right? You can see how crazy this world is, right? They make these male celebrities who want, part of their initiation process in Freemasonry is a humiliation ritual where they have to do something very humiliating that they don't want to do. They use these things usually to blackmail them, to keep them in, right? Because people out there are like, well, how do we never find out about Freemasonry and any of this stuff? Well, they do unimaginable things that they photograph them doing, they film them doing, that they're forced into doing when they get to a certain degree. So when they do these things, it's held against them. So if they ever try to get out, not only, and even if the person was like, oh, you know what, you want to put those pictures of me out with a kid, the things they do are unimaginable, okay? It's not just like, oh, let's do something embarrassing, like dress up as a woman. Now, the dressing up as a woman thing is something they've normalized in our pop culture, right? They have celebrities. We've seen Derek Jeter. We've seen Kevin Hart, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. They always go on Saturday Night Live for these shows and they dress up as women, right? What's ironic about it, like I've said over the years, is that the whole audience laughs at them and dressed up as the opposite sex. Yet in our society, we're told that we're not supposed to or allowed to laugh at people dressed up as the opposite gender. Go figure, right? Tells you how inverted and twisted this world is. But yes, as he states with Kevin Hart, most of these people out in the public do have to perform humiliation rituals out in the open. So it could be something like dressing as a female, men dressing as females. It could be something like that gets put on the news to embarrass them or make them look like fools. This is part of them normalizing it and putting this out in the open. Now, behind closed doors, their humiliation rituals are, like I said, are way worse than that. They do things that would get them thrown in jail, and they have to do those in front of their fellow brothers in the lodges. And of course, these things are documented with photos or video. That way that these people can never reveal the secrets of a fellow Mason. What they didn't think would ever happen was the internet was going to expose a lot of these Masons. So what do? They silence everybody out there that exposes their books and their teachings, right? People like myself, people who can embarrass these people for the buffoons they are. People who could point out that there's a Mason lodge in every town in this country. There's an Eastern Star lodge in every town in this country. And if it isn't in your town, it's in the town over from you, because maybe you have a really small town. Now, I just put up a video on the website Uprising Revival about the Eastern Star, which is the females' order of Freemasonry. It's the same thing. Their logo itself is an upside-down pentagram for anyone out there that doesn't know. They recruit through Job's Daughters and Rainbow Girls. They're youth organizations that they take young children at a young age into, and then they're handlers for them. They're pretty much, handlers. You call them handlers. You know, they say that they're like, role models, etc., and they look after them, and they're supposed to be like a hero to them, and, oh, we're taking them under our wing kind of a thing, right? What they're doing is grooming them in the occult and secret societies without any of these kids' parents having a clue what's actually going on, unless, of course, it's the parents themselves, which always happens, who are the ones grooming them. So Eastern Star, D. Malay is the boys, and again, I'm branching off from the topic here of what Katt Williams discussed, just for people out there that don't understand. Even when we see these false events at schools, etc., the children, because people have a tough time believing how the children, the Mickey Mouse Club, etc., they all go through D. Malay. Walt Disney was one of the founders of D. Malay. Okay, I have tons of videos on the website about that on Uprising Revival. These are things that they've scrubbed off the internet. They don't want them out there, and if they do find that they're out there, they will take them down. Okay, so they groom children at a young age. They push them into Freemasonry. These are all our politicians, our celebrities, all go through this. If somebody from the outside gets in, let's say Ludacris, for example, right? Katt Williams is talking about, they were going to pick between us. It's highly likely Katt Williams is a Freemason for even getting where he is. I don't have any doubts about that. Okay? Now, did he get selected versus the other guy? Well, it looks obviously like Ludacris was selected. Is there truth to the story? I'm sure there's some truth to it. But you can look at Katt Williams and say the fact that he's even alive at this point, that means that they want to continue like normalizing Illuminati as if it's some type of party club, because it's something more than a distraction when they talk about these things. People go nuts over it. They're like, can you believe it? He's a real truth. He's exposing this stuff. He's still in Hollywood. He's still alive. So they don't obviously care about what he's doing because he's not shining light on how these secret societies work, on who's involved, the satanic rituals that are done. He mentioned Satan, so people take a little bit of that. They're like, oh yeah, he's on our team, and etc. And of course, there could be some truth to some of the stories and tales he actually tells us. But the truth of the matter is, the Illuminati does exist. All they do to tell you it's disbanded is put Wikipedias underneath videos, which they'll probably put on this one, and try to make you think that it was disbanded years ago and it doesn't exist anymore, right? I mean, they don't want you to ever talk about Freemasonry, do they? Right? They want you to say Illuminati because they don't want you to talk about Masonry, Eastern Star, and any of these secret societies, because then you could realize why the world is upside down right now, because these people have gotten into positions of power all across the world, Democrats and Republicans, and their motto is order out of chaos. And you're seeing chaos all around the world, and now they're about to take over. They are part of the global government. So Katt Williams, again, there's interesting stuff in some of the things that he says. the soul selling thing. How many times do we need to hear them talk about soul selling before people wake up and realize that these people not only worship the devil, to become famous, they have to commit unimaginable acts of sacrifice. Now, you always hear the celebrities, I have tons of videos on that too, where they always hear them talk about sacrifice, whether it's a sporting thing. They're like, oh man, I sacrificed to get here, right? Or a celebrity's like, I sacrificed. People just think that it means they didn't go to a party one night. They went to bed at 9 o'clock every night so that they could make it to their next gig or show. And they're like, they sacrificed. They really worked hard. They did a couple extra hours in the gym. And people think that's what they mean. They openly have to admit and talk about this stuff. It's universal law. So it's your interpretation that they're screwing with and messing with. They're telling you, admitting to you about sacrifice over and over. It's one of the most common terms in our society today is hearing these people talk about sacrifice. But you're thinking that they're sacrificing hours at the gym while you're out partying or eating McDonald's, etc., and they're working extra hard. No. They get to these positions because of sacrifice, and they tell you it flat out. It's called human sacrifice. I thank everybody for being here. I hope we're all doing well out there. God bless you as always and your families.